March 24, 1945, Luxembourg City, 12th Army Group Headquarters. The rain hammers against the tall windows of the Hotel Alpha. Inside the converted conference room, General Omar Nelson Bradley stands motionless before a wall-sized map of Western Germany. His wire-rimmed glasses catch the glow of overhead lights as his finger traces the thin blue line of the Rhine River. Behind him, a radio crackles with static. Telephones ring in adjacent rooms. Staff officers shuffle between desks covered in reconnaissance photographs and casualty reports. Bradley has not slept in 31 hours. He is thinking about George Patton. A young lieutenant approaches, a decoded message trembling in his hand. His face carries an expression Bradley has seen before, an expression that means only one thing. "Sir, latest position report from 3rd Army." Bradley takes the paper, reads it again. His jaw tightens. "He's where?" The lieutenant does not answer. He knows better. Bradley stares at the map. His eyes find the last known position of Patton's 3rd Army, marked with small red pins near the Rhine crossing at Oppenheim. Then he looks at the coordinates on the paper in his hand. They don't match. They can't match. Those coordinates place Patton 53 miles deeper into Germany than any Allied unit should be, 53 miles beyond where his supplies can reasonably reach, 53 miles into territory that intelligence still marks as contested. Bradley removes his glasses, rubs his eyes. "Get me Patton on the phone, now." Section 1, The Doctrine of Patience. To understand what is about to unfold, one must first understand the doctrine that Patton is about to shatter. By March 1945, Allied military planning operates on principles forged from 4 years of bloody experience. Advance, consolidate, resupply, repeat. Every commander knows this rhythm. Every commander respects it. Except one. The doctrine exists for good reason. Extended supply lines become vulnerable to counterattack. Units outrunning their fuel and ammunition become combat ineffective. An army that advances too fast can find itself surrounded, cut off, destroyed in detail. This is not theory. This is hard-earned truth. Bradley believes in this doctrine. So does General Dwight D. Eisenhower. So does Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery. Every senior commander in the European theater understands that the final defeat of Nazi Germany requires careful coordination. The Soviets are pressing from the east. The Western Allies are pressing from the west. This is a moment for precision, for discipline. George Smith Patton Jr. has other ideas. Section 2, The Man Who Wouldn't Wait, March 22, 1945. The Rhine River has been Nazi Germany's last great natural barrier. For weeks, the Allied High Command has planned a massive coordinated crossing, Operation Plunder, scheduled for March 24th. Montgomery will lead it in the north. Artillery, air support, elaborate preparation. Patton cannot wait 2 more days. On the evening of March 22nd, elements of the 5th Infantry Division slip across the Rhine at Oppenheim. No artillery preparation, no smoke screen, no fanfare, they simply cross. By morning, Patton has a bridgehead on the eastern bank. He waits until the bridge is secure, then he calls Bradley. "Brad, don't tell anyone, but I'm across." "Well, I'll be damned, you mean across the Rhine?" "Sure am, I sneaked a division over last night, but keep it quiet so I can keep going." Bradley cannot keep it quiet. By noon, the world knows. When Montgomery's massive, coordinated crossing begins on March 24th, Patton has already been on the eastern bank for 36 hours. He has not stopped to consolidate. He has not waited for his supply lines to catch up. He has kept moving. Section 3, The Pace Accelerates, March 25-28, 1945. 20 miles the first day, 30 miles the second, 40 miles the third. The pattern emerges immediately. 3rd Army does not advance, it lunges. Each morning, Bradley's staff updates their tracking maps. Each afternoon, the updates become obsolete. Patton issues orders that defy conventional wisdom. Don't stop for anything. If you run out of fuel, siphon it from captured vehicles. If you run out of ammunition, use captured ammunition. If you run out of food, eat German rations. Just keep moving. His corps commanders execute without question. Major General Manton Eddy's XII Corps pushes through the Hessian hills. Major General Walton Walker's XX Corps races toward Frankfurt. Major General Troy Middleton's VII Corps secures the southern flank. The German defenders cannot establish defensive lines. Every time they attempt to dig in, American tanks appear behind them. Flanking positions become surrounded positions. Strong points become isolated pockets. At 3rd Army headquarters, Patton paces before his own maps. The Germans are breaking, he tells his staff. Not cracking, breaking. If we push now, right now, we can end this war in weeks, not months. His chief of staff, Brigadier General Hobart Gay, raises the inevitable concern. George, we're outrunning our supplies. The trucks can't keep up. Patton's response is immediate. Then find more trucks. Section 4, The First Crisis, March 29, 1945. The telephone call comes at 400. Bradley is awake. He is always awake now. Sleep has become a luxury he cannot afford. General Bradley, we've lost contact with 3rd Army's forward elements. What do you mean, lost contact? We can't raise them on radio, sir. Our last confirmed position was outside Wiesbaden. That was 14 hours ago. Bradley feels the familiar knot in his stomach. This is the nightmare scenario. An army group commander is supposed to know where his armies are. He is supposed to coordinate their movements with adjacent forces. He is supposed to prevent friendly units from accidentally engaging each other. He cannot do any of these things if he doesn't know where Patton is. 2 hours later, the radio crackles back to life. 12th Army Group, this is 3rd Army actual, over. 3rd Army confirm current position, over. A pause, then Patton's voice, unmistakably smug. We're in Kassel, we've taken the city, send supplies, Patton out. Bradley stares at the radio. Kassel is over 100 miles from their last confirmed position. Kassel was supposed to be a 1st Army objective. Bradley turns to his operations officer, get me Eisenhower. Section 5, The Conference That Changed Nothing, March 31, 1945. Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force, Reims, France. General Dwight D. Eisenhower sits at the head of a long table. Around him are gathered the senior commanders of the Western Alliance. Bradley is there. So is Air Chief Marshal Sir Arthur Tedder. So is Lieutenant General Walter Bedell Smith, Eisenhower's Chief of Staff. The subject is Patton. He's creating chaos, Bradley says flatly. Our supply lines are stretched to breaking. 1st Army keeps stumbling into areas that 3rd Army has already passed through without clearing. I've got reports of 3rd Army elements engaging what they thought were Germans, but turned out to be reconnaissance units from our own forces. We almost had a friendly fire incident outside Fulda. Eisenhower listens. His face betrays nothing. What do you recommend? Order him to halt, allow the other armies to catch up, restore proper frontline coordination. There is silence. Bedell Smith speaks. The problem is, Omar, every time we order him to halt, he's already moved before the order reaches him. Then relieve him. The words hang in the air. Eisenhower shakes his head slowly. I can't relieve George Patton. Not now, not when he's winning. The American public would crucify me. Bradley's jaw tightens. Then what? We let him run. We reinforce his supply lines as best we can. We pray he doesn't get himself surrounded. Eisenhower stands, signaling the meeting's end. Gentlemen, I'm not going to be the man who stopped the general who ended the war. Section 6, The View from the Other Side, April 1, 1945. Führerhauptquartier Wolf's Lair, East Prussia. In the crumbling remnants of the Nazi command structure, the reports arrive in fragments, contradictory, impossible. Field Marshal Albert Kesselring, newly appointed Commander-in-Chief West, studies the situation map with growing disbelief. Where is Patton? His staff cannot answer. Every report places American armor in a different location. Some claim 3rd Army is outside Erfurt. Others say Mühlhausen. Still others insist they have spotted American tanks near Gotha. All of these locations are over 100 kilometers apart. This is impossible, Kesselring mutters. One army cannot be in 3 places at once. But Third Army is not in 3 places, it is in all of them, and more. Patton has divided his force into multiple spearheads, each racing forward independently. He has abandoned the concept of a continuous front line entirely. His tanks probe for weakness. When they find it, they exploit it immediately. When they meet resistance, they bypass it, leaving the infantry to mop up. German commanders attempt to establish blocking positions. By the time their units reach the designated locations, American forces have already passed through. An intercepted radio message from a German divisional commander captures the desperation. Enemy forces behind us, unable to determine direction of American main effort, requesting permission to withdraw. Permission is denied. The division is surrounded within 12 hours. Section 7, The Discovery, April 4, 1945. 1400 hours, the outskirts of Ostrov, Thuringia. Lead elements of the 4th Armored Division enter a complex of low wooden buildings surrounded by barbed wire. The stench hits them first, then the sight. Bodies, hundreds of them, stacked like cordwood, emaciated beyond recognition as human. Survivors emerge from the barracks, living skeletons in striped uniforms, too weak to speak. The soldiers of Third Army have seen combat, they have witnessed death, they have walked through burning cities and stepped over enemy corpses without flinching. This is different. Word reaches Patton within the hour. He requisitions a jeep. Against the advice of his staff, he drives to Ostrov personally. He walks through the camp in silence. He sees the crematorium. He sees the torture devices. He sees the mass graves. When he emerges, witnesses report that his face is white. His hands are shaking. He immediately orders every available unit to document the site. He demands that the nearby German civilians be forced to tour the camp to see what their government has done. Then he calls Bradley. Brad, you need to come see this. Everyone needs to see this. On April 12th, General Eisenhower himself tours Ostrov. He issues immediate orders. Every available American soldier who can be spared from combat must witness the camps. We are told that the American soldier does not know what he is fighting for, Eisenhower writes in a cable to Washington. Now, at least, he will know what he is fighting against. Patton's orders to his army are simpler. Drive faster. Section 8, The Impossible Decision, April 15, 1945. Bradley's headquarters, now in Wiesbaden. The situation has become impossible to control. Third Army has advanced so far, so fast, that it now threatens to outrun not just its supplies, but its entire strategic framework. Patton's forward elements are approaching the Elbe River. Beyond the Elbe lies Berlin. But Berlin is supposed to be a Soviet objective. The Yalta Conference has divided post-war Germany into occupation zones. The agreements are political, they are binding, and Patton is about to violate them. He's 50 miles from Berlin, Bradley reads from the latest intelligence summary. At his current rate of advance, he could be there in 3 days. Is that confirmed? Nothing about Patton is ever confirmed, but yes, our best estimate places his forward reconnaissance elements outside Dessau, that's 50 miles. The phone rings, Bradley answers. Omar, Eisenhower's voice is tight. The Soviets are raising hell. They claim our forces are advancing into their agreed zone. They're threatening to halt their own offensive until we pull back. It's Patton. I know it's Patton. I need you to stop him. I've been trying to stop him for 3 weeks. A long silence. Then try harder. Issue a direct order. Halt in place. No movement beyond the Mulde River. I want written confirmation that he's received and acknowledged the order. And if he doesn't comply? Eisenhower's answer is cold. Then I'll relieve him, and this time I mean it. Section 9, The Order and Its Consequences, April 16-18, 1945. The order reaches Patton at 1800 hours on April 16th. Eyes only commanding General 3rd Army. Immediate BY direction of Supreme Commander. Halt all forward movement, no advance beyond MULDE River, acknowledge receipt and compliance. Patton reads the order twice, then he crumples it and throws it across his command tent. They want me to stop, now, when we're closer to ending this war than anyone has ever been. His staff waits in silence. For a long moment, Patton says nothing. His eyes are fixed on the map, on Berlin, on the prize that is being denied to him. Then he speaks. Acknowledge receipt. Sir. Acknowledge receipt. We will comply with the order. A staff officer moves toward the radio. But Patton adds, I want every reconnaissance element pushed forward to the absolute limit of the halt line, and I want them ready to move the instant that order is rescinded. It will not be rescinded. For 3 days, 3rd Army sits motionless along the Mulde River, 50 miles from Berlin, 50 miles from glory. The Soviets enter Berlin on April 21st. Patton never forgives Eisenhower, or Bradley, or the politicians who made the decision. But he does not disobey. I could have been there, he tells his staff. I should have been there. History will condemn the men who stopped me. Section 10, The Final Drive, April 20, May 8, 1945. With Berlin denied to him, Patton turns south. If he cannot take the German capital, he will take everything else. 3rd Army pivots into Austria and Czechoslovakia. The pace somehow accelerates, 60 miles in a single day, then 70, then 80. Cities fall: Linz, Pilsen, Carlsbad. Bradley's tracking maps become useless. Updates arrive hours after they are obsolete. He's where? The phrase has become a dark joke among 12th Army Group staff. They ask it every morning. The answer is always the same, somewhere that should be impossible. On May 4th, elements of 3rd Army meet Soviet forces at Linz, Austria. The war in Europe is effectively over. On May 8th, Germany surrenders unconditionally. Patton has driven his army 600 miles in 28 days. He has liberated tens of thousands of concentration camp prisoners. He has destroyed the remnants of Army Group G and Army Group South. He has, by any military metric, achieved the impossible. And Omar Bradley still cannot quite believe where he ended up. Section 11, Historical Verdict. In the years that follow, military historians will debate the Patton phenomenon endlessly. Was he reckless or brilliant, insubordinate or visionary, a danger to his own forces or the architect of Germany's rapid collapse? The numbers tell one story. From March 22 to May 8, 1945, a span of 47 days, 3rd Army advanced over 1,000 miles. It captured or killed an estimated 515,000 enemy soldiers. It liberated 12,000 towns and villages. It seized intact bridges, airfields, and industrial facilities that would have been destroyed if the Germans had been given time to prepare. The cost: 21,441 American soldiers killed, 99,224 wounded. High but lower than any comparable offensive in military history. General Omar Bradley, writing in his memoir A Soldier's Story, offers a measured assessment. Patton was the only field commander I knew who could have gotten away with what he did. Any other general would have been relieved, but George had an instinct for when the enemy was breaking. When he sensed that moment, nothing could hold him back, and in the spring of 1945, his instincts were right. Eisenhower, in his own memoir Crusade in Europe, is more direct. George Patton was the most aggressive commander in the Allied forces. His rapid armored thrusts across Germany shortened the war by weeks, perhaps months. He was not always right. He was not always wise. But when the situation called for audacity, there was no one better. Military analyst Colonel Trevor Dupuy later quantified Patton's impact. 3rd Army achieved a combat effectiveness rating higher than any comparable force in World War II. Patton's understanding of mobile warfare was generations ahead of his contemporaries. But perhaps the most telling verdict comes from the German side. Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel, during the Nuremberg trials, was asked which Allied general the Germans feared most. His answer was immediate. Patton, we could predict Montgomery, we could anticipate Bradley, but Patton, we never knew where he would strike next. He was everywhere and nowhere, a ghost. A ghost who left 1,000 miles of conquered territory in his wake. Closing, he's where? December 21, 1945, Heidelberg, Germany. General George S. Patton Jr. dies from injuries sustained in a traffic accident 12 days earlier. He is buried in the American Military Cemetery at Luxembourg. At his own request, he rests among the soldiers of Third Army, the men who followed him across France and Germany, the men who kept moving when every doctrine said to stop. His gravestone is simple, plain white marble, identical to the thousands surrounding it. But visitors always find it. In Washington, Omar Bradley receives the news by telephone. He sets down the receiver slowly. He removes his glasses. He stares at nothing for a long moment. His aide asks if there is anything he needs. Bradley shakes his head. George was the most difficult man I ever worked with. He gave me more headaches than every German division combined. He ignored orders. He created chaos. He made my job nearly impossible. The pause. He was also the greatest combat commander I ever saw. He understood something the rest of us didn't, that in war, momentum is everything, that a moving army is harder to stop than a stationary one, that sometimes the best strategy is simply to keep going until the enemy breaks. Bradley turns toward the window. I spent 5 months chasing him across maps, 5 months asking the same question over and over again. He almost smiles. He's where? In the distance, the lights of the capital flicker in the winter darkness. The war is over. The arguments have ended. But somewhere in a different world, George Patton is still moving forward. Still outrunning his supplies, still ignoring orders, still driving 50 miles ahead of where he should be. And somewhere, Omar Bradley is still staring at a map, still reading impossible coordinates, still asking the only question that ever mattered. He's where?